Wendy Erven, oh my goodness. The Pilates classes that I do at her studio that she owns are called Pro, and there's a reason that they're called Pro. It is the most incredible class I have ever taken. Not only is it physically stretch all of us, but she has created such a beautiful community that just settles so well in your heart and soul. You can feel the energy and hear all of the possibilities when you have a conversation with Wendy. She has acted on intuition, overcome obstacles, and trusted the process. She is authentic and so full of love. She has incredible business ideas and is resilient as heck. Her stories of where she has come from and where she is now are sure to inspire you. Welcome, Wendy. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse. I am Amy, along here with my sister Molly. We help high-achieving women increase their income, but most importantly, their impact. We are neighbors, sisters, and business partners. We have built 8-figure businesses together, traveled the world together, raised our children together, mentored thousands of men and women together. And it's all because we have a penthouse mindset. We aim for the top and we show others how to empower themselves to peel back the layers and truly step into their greatness and calling. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse, where we help high-achieving women upgrade their impact and their income.
Hi, everyone. We are so excited to have our friend because we both love her. We both go to Pilates at her studio, and it's Wendy Erven, and she is magnetic. She's powerful. I mean, you're going to love her. So we're going to just start out, Wendy. Simple question. Just tell us who you are. Have fun. Be yourself. Who are you?
All right. Well, I'm Wendy Jane Erven, and that's my middle name, and I never say that. But I used to actually call myself Wendina Janet, and that was a name in college. So, yeah, I am at Core 10 Pilates a lot because I own it and opened it 8 years ago after, oh gosh, well, I was an at-home mom for a long time, and I used to be a business owner, and I just love creating things. And I used to own out in kind of like down the hill from Job's Peak. I used to own a health club that was small classes. Everything you did there was small classes. It was called Club Spa. And once I had Jake, my firstborn, I had no idea what was coming. I actually didn't take any classes for birth. I was like, you know what? I teach people to breathe for a living. I'm not going to go learn how to breathe. Well, so we went through the whole pregnancy. And when I had Jake, it was awesome. He was born in South Lake Tahoe. Within 2 weeks, my whole life changed. My thought before having Jake was, oh yeah, my husband and I would just, my husband would be at the club and I would have Jake, and then we would just trade off like a football, like, okay, go. And then I would get in there and he'd go out, and we had people there, we would just help, instructors, and we had trainers and front desk. And then within 2 weeks, I said, yeah, I'm done, just done. Look, I'm out, just sell it. I don't care. So we sold it. I wouldn't say we sold well, but we got out, sold everything, and moved back to the Bay Area. And that is when I hooked up with the Oakland Raiders. And my family's from the Bay Area. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, from Pleasanton. And so when we went back there, I was just raising Jake, being with him. And my mom would take care of Jake when I went to the Raiders, did hot yoga and Pilates with them, and taught in some clubs around there. That it was just fun, not owning, just being. And oh, it's so awesome. And just taking Jake to the park in the day and being his mom, and waking him up from a nap and putting him to bed and reading with him all the time. And then when I got pregnant with Annalise, my husband had a job transfer we actually just wanted to get out of the Bay Area. So he put it up to his company and said, just send us anywhere. And he was really good with fixing sales departments. So they said, all right, well, the first place you're going is Omaha, Nebraska. And I was like, I wasn't anticipating that. Where exactly? So I had to look, and that's like right in the middle. And I said, do they have accents? Are they cowboys? What are we doing? And I had no idea what I was getting into. We literally sold our convertible to move here. I was like, well, we're going to have to sell the convertible. We, we can't have that in the Midwest. And I'm stupid, right? I know. I'm so embarrassed, but it is what it is. And now I've lived here since 2002 is when I moved here. And you know what? One thing though, when I left the Raiders, it's so funny because my boss then, Garrett Dumont, he was telling me when I told him, actually, they didn't know I was pregnant. So I knew that was going to come to very soon because it was already showing. I was already very thick, and but regardless, I told him that I was moving and yada yada, and he told me, oh, you're going to go. That's the Cornhuskers out there. I'm like, okay, whatever that means. I wasn't into college football in any way. And then he said, we had been talking about doing this is back in 2001, 2002, DVDs. So he had a plan to do DVDs, yoga videos for people to do at home with the Raiders. And so that was kind of like, yeah, I know, I gotta move. So I don't know what they did. I really found somebody else. So that was a slice of life for me, being there, all kinds of stories that I have of being at the Raiders. But then when I moved here, anywhere I go, I find the same kind of people, awesome people, energetic. I mean, so when people, when they move here and they ask me like, what are these people like here? I'm like, well, I don't know. What are they like from where you're from? And then they will tell you what they're like. And you just know that is what they're going to find. So you're like, yeah, that's kind of the same thing in here. So I just find the same people no matter where I am. I find people like you two. I find just really awesome people. And we truly at Core 10 have amazing people. But I didn't open Core 10 until 8 years ago. I was an at-home mom. And that about the time that I went through a divorce, I knew, okay, I've got to go back to work a little sooner. I wanted to wait till Annalise was in at least kindergarten, but I had to go when she was in preschool. But I took her with me, and it became like one of their number one. Like anybody in corporate, they know Wendy Erven because we made some marks for what Pilates could actually do. But at that time, Annalise could go, and that was really important. I said, well, it's a full-time job. Well, I can't do, I'm not just going to be there. I will have to. They said, whatever, as long as you meet our goals. And that's this was my first corporation that I actually worked for. And I'm like, okay, whatever that means, meet your goals. So, and they would put these goals out, and I would try not to even look at them, and I would just do what I did. And then, by the 15th, they put out this thing called the food chain. I called it the food chain. They would put ranking at the top. You'd see everybody in your club, then you'd see nationwide. And it was like, this is terrible for so many people. But I would be like, great, met the goal already. So that was always good. However, after being with Annalise and then, always dropped them off at school, picked them up, only worked when they were in school, then a couple nights a week when they could be with their dad then. And then decided, gosh, it just got, that food chain was just getting to be too much. And no matter what I did in the corporation there, even though top 10 programs gave them, literally, they took things from what I had developed there. They have corporations, they have a box you have to fit into.
Right.
And I did fit into it for the most part. And I tried really hard to do that. And they took some of my stuff and just put it under theirs. And I'm like, okay, that works. But at the point where I realized like, wow, 120% is not enough for you guys. 130%, no matter what I did, it's never enough, never enough. And I just was like,
handcuffs, the golden handcuffs.
Yes. And it just felt heavy. And so I just knew, and I knew because, I mean, when you're guided and you're tuned in, you just know. And it was like, I had to go. I don't know where I'm going. I got to figure this out. So I did. I figured it out. And I mean, there was a big escape plan to get out of there, especially to open up across the street. So I had
that was bold.
Yeah. Well, I had all kinds of things in place. So it was all good. And there was nothing legally that could happen. And I didn't reach out to clients. The people reached out to me. So I never, ever reached out to anybody to say, come with me. I just planned my own business. And they so nicely, when they figured out one day, I was getting close to opening in January of 2016. And I think it was kind of the middle of November. I was waiting. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when. And it happened. They came in and my boss was like, I gotta walk you out. I'm like, okay, I understand. And he hugged me when he left. So, we're down in I'm walking out and he's like, oh my gosh. And we hugged and, I still see him today and we're friends and he's out doing his own thing. So it's all good and opened the studio and it's great. We have the best people at Core 10. And when new people come in, I always tell them that. I'm like, wait till you meet the people here. I mean, you have no idea until you're in the vibe of the studio. it just doesn't have room for, people who are flying really low. It just doesn't. Everybody is just so uplifting of each other. And they're such authentic people, which is, I love that. I love authentic people.
Well, Wendy, I think about what you just said about when you moved here and you're like, oh gosh, the people are great here like they are back home in California. And oh my gosh, and the people at Core 10 are amazing. It's because you know that, like you set that expectation, that law of attraction of like, I only attract great people. And what happens? You attract great people. Like, shocker. No wonder Amy and I felt that when we came. In fact, you probably don't even know this or remember this, but I used to drive up from Lincoln, which is about an hour from Omaha, and I would come and drop into a class every now and then because I had gotten certified in Pilates. Gosh, it's been 22 years now. And I would go in just because I wanted a really good Pilates class. I'm like, ooh, I'll drive an hour there and an hour home just to have a good 50-minute workout.
I remember there were some other girls who came too from Fly, and they would come out and they were so fun. Oh my gosh,
yes.
So fun.
So I look at what you've built. It's no wonder. And so that kind of leads us to just our last question here is just, what does it look like to live in the penthouse? What does it mean to live in the penthouse?
To live in the penthouse, what does it look like? What does it feel like? How about that? Can I answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. What does it feel like?
Yeah, for me, living in the penthouse feels so good. It feels so energetic. It's truly like I'm flying on a high flying disc, and you can be aware, you can see so much more clearly because really you can feel it. But if you are, think about like if you're low, you can only see kind of what's in front of you. But the higher you get up, you can actually see things that other people just don't even seem to be aware of, and it's not even see, it's, I can sense things, like I can literally, I can't tell you how many times it's happened where I have reached out to a client, like just last week, I was texting somebody I was thinking, where's she been? I haven't seen her at least a week. I was about to send it. She texted me at that moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because whether it was her, I was sensing her thinking of this, or she felt me thinking of her. I don't know. This stuff happens all the time though. And that's why, honestly, sometimes I think like, how can I franchise something like this? That's the thing is, I don't know how, like we have the best instructors. And even when some come and go, they're just always awesome people. And I just think, wow, if I franchise this out, how would you be able to monitor that? Or I don't know that. But the answer, it'll come to me someday.
Oh, it will. Your intuition is such a great state of being in your feminine flow. I mean, you're very intuitive. And I feel like Amy was just going to say something.
I was going to say that intuition, you mentioned it, you didn't mention it, but you mentioned it several times along the way with your entrepreneurial spirit, and you can just tell that you have a really good sense of who you are, and internally that voice and you act on it. You don't squelch it, you act on it. One of my favorite things that you said is you weren't checking to see what rank you were at the gym. You stayed in your lane, you kept your head down, you kept your focus, you were not distracted. Yeah, put your blinders on. And that it's no coincidence that you are as successful. And when I walked in, I'm a newbie in your studio, and the energy that I felt, I mean, I really, if they had to kick out the lowest ranking member of the of the class, it would be me. But I'll tell you what, the whole class is
oh my gosh.
I'm always
nobody's ranking. There's no food chain at Core 10.
Yes, because there is so much love there. I am my own, laughing at my own silly self when I'm behind on my counts, but it is a vibe and an energy like none other that I have ever felt. And Molly and I are lifelong, gym rats or, fitness fanatics and all of that. So well done. You really have an incredible.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's just good people there. Literally this morning I was taking class and I just got on the end, because we do that. We try to stay out of the way, and I'm on the end and I'm exercising next to somebody else. So I had never been able to exercise next to her. And at the end, she said, thank you so much for your energy. And I was just like, I love this person.
It's so
like, I didn't even give her any energy that I was aware of. We were just moving, moving next to each other. It was so awesome.
Well, and friends, this is what it's like to live in the penthouse. And so whether it's feel, whether it's what you sense, whether it's what you see, this is what it feels like, according to Wendy, to live in the penthouse. So thank you so much, Wendy. We love you.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today for Meet Me in the Penthouse with sisters Amy and Molly. please rate and review. We love those 5-star ratings and would love to have you go to our website at sistersnextdoor.com.
We know you loved Wendy and her penthouse thinking. And next up, we've got Jessa. And you're going to love this Follow the Yellow Brick Road, little Kansas girl, and her stories and her journey of moving out to LA and what she created out there and then brought home with her back to the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas.